I still remember how she smelled, like it's just all
Mhm.
these like memories. And
Yeah.
she just made me feel seen and heard. She just made me, because
Yeah.
like when you don't speak the language, people think you're dumb. They just assume that you are dumb and you don't know anything. And so I just wanted somebody to notice me and not, I was just this invisible person, sitting in my classroom, and it was
Yeah.
just like a sponge, just absorbing everything. But whenever I would go to ESL, she would ask me questions. She would have me draw things, and she just really showed me that she cared. And so, even as a 10-year-old, I was like, I love her. She cares about me. I wanted to go to
Oh,
school because of her. And I
that's
know, like, when you were
amazing.
asking about like teachers who've made an impact in my life,
Yeah.
like positive or
Mhm.
negative, like I'm usually very optimistic and I focus on all the positives. But one teacher, like complete opposite of Mrs. Weiser, when I went up to seventh grade, so this is like 2 years after I came to America, I had to take the states and capitals test. I still remember.
Mhm.
And even as an English speaker, it's hard to memorize all 50 states and capitals and the
Yes.
locations, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I knew all 50 states and
Oh, yeah.
capitals.
I'm gonna
I know
struggle with
all
that.
50
Yeah.
states, but like
Uh-huh.
the capitals of all 50 states,
Yeah.
I definitely don't know.
Some of them can be a little confusing, like geographic locations. Like I'm terrible at that. But I remember
Yeah.
taking the test and I did poorly. I did poorly on the test because
Mhm.
it was just too
It was
overwhelming.
hard.
And then I remember in front of the whole class, Mrs. Matthews said, "Your sister Judy got 100% on her first try, and she was brand new to the country. I can't believe you guys are sisters." And at that time, I didn't know
Oh
I
my
wanted to be a
god.
teacher, but that was
Yeah.
such a humiliating, heartbreaking moment. And I told
Mhm.
myself, wow, how can an adult do this to a child? And I
Right.
said, if I ever become a teacher, I would never compare any of the siblings like that. And I would never do this to any of my students. And so
Yeah.
but she did make a huge impact because, it just made me
That's
realize the power of an authority figure, power of a teacher, you know?
yeah. That's something honestly I have those same discussions with parents that I've had of students that I've had because I feel like some parents it's hard for them because they like all parents want the best for their children and they really just want their child to have a good life and to get a good education. But sometimes, when there are families with multiple children in them, comparisons happen. They just do. And for parents, sometimes it's really hard. And I'm not a parent yet myself, but like I mean I can empathize with that. Like, if you have one child that goes through school first and just it's a breeze for them and just is really everything's super easy for them, like I could see wanting that for your second child, but also like coming to the realization that every child is different and not everything is going to go the same way for every single kid going through school. And I mean, at one point I had a parent that was like in tears during conferences because their son had, I think like a high, I don't even a high C. I think he had a like a B minus in my English class,
Mhm.
but like his older sibling got straight A's always. And, she was, this parent was devastated that like their child might be struggling, air
Wow.
quotes. And
Uh-huh.
I, I, I had to like reassure her. I'm like, if this is, I'm like, you have to know that your son is trying so hard and you should be proud of how hard he's working. And I know you are, but I just want you to know that it's okay if both children don't get the same grades. That's
Mhm.
okay. And it is hard. It's
Yeah.
hard though, because you want the best for your kid, as a parent.
No, it's just one of those like skill sets like differ so drastically from kid to kid. You can't put like expectations and just force a child to like be a complete replicate of the child
It's
that
the,
came
the
before them.
pressure.
Yeah, because I was gonna
Yeah.
say even just like personally, like me and my brother are just two drastically different people.
Mhm.
I excelled really well, did really well in school. That was where I thrived and everything. Went to college and all that. And my brother, he was a CB student. Just he was more extroverted than I am, but like didn't pay attention in school, just wanted to have fun.
He's very handy
But
though.
that's what I was
Like,
gonna say.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
he is mechanically, like, when it comes to cars, and like he actually served in the military. He repaired Black Hawk helicopters,
Oh my gosh.
and
Wow.
he was a part of like special forces and
Yeah.
everything. So like he succeeded in the environment that like he was meant to succeed into. So
Mhm.
like when you're going through school, like your child might not be like a straight A student, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to succeed. That doesn't
Right.
mean that like,
I was the same way.
yeah,
My brother and I, like my brother and I both got A's and B's through school. I mean, I math was always really hard for me. So I remember when I was in 8th grade, I got my first C in math on a report card, and I about had a panic attack. Like
Uh-huh.
because I am very much a perfectionist, and it really bothered me. And like for any like tests I had to take, like I had to study. I had to try hard to get my A's and B's. My brother really didn't have to try all that
yeah,
hard. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he just kind of would glance over stuff and then get a B or an A, and like it didn't happen like that for me. So, I mean, it just is the way it is.
mhm,
And I think that's awful that your teachers did that to you.
Well, it just
And
motivated me to find something
right,
else
but
that I
I'm
was
glad
really
it
good at. Yeah,
motivated you.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
to
I
be
think
a
it's
better teacher for
yeah,
your
yeah.
students.
And I think that's really important. Like when parents come to me and they're like, "Oh, my child needs a math tutor because they have an A minus," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Right.
I always encourage them, find something that they love doing and get
yeah,
like, whether it's like extra art classes or extra,
Right.
music classes, whatever they love doing, just nurture that. Don't only look for the weak areas, like find something
Right,
that they're good at
right.
and just let them soar.
Hey, you.
hey,
I love that shirt you're wearing.
and you know what would go great with that shirt?
What?
A nice big virtual hug. And you can
Aw.
get that by hitting some of these buttons down here. Subscribe, like, comment. We'll give you a big old virtual hug.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.